What's going on, everybody? This is Will with the Fight Gods podcast. My normal co-host Nico is not here tonight, so Ben Doucette will be with me, the Stash, and we are here joined by our special guest Helen Peralta, who was actually on our first episode and is returning. And hi, Helen. How are you doing tonight?
I'm very good. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. Ben, you doing all right, bud?
I'm doing excellent. Thanks for having me on tonight, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you guys for being here. So Helen, we saw your fight not too long ago in Invicta. Awesome fight. Got your hand raised. That was a hell of a performance. Like I was saying on Facebook, like you were mixing in the kicks really well. Like you really looked like you were putting everything together like perfectly. Probably the best performance I've seen you have as far as like all the way around well rounded. Do you attribute that to moving up a weight class to 125?
Well, that's part of it. And also now I've been training for longer than before. And
Right.
I've been focusing a lot on my grappling, which makes it easier to strike. If you're constantly concerned about being taken down, it doesn't matter how good of a striker you are. It doesn't really show in your performance because you don't want to overextend. This time I wasn't too concerned about that because of my training. So I was, a little bit more free out there. I did have that weight on my shoulder. Like I had to get this win because so many people told me not to go up in weight.
Mhm.
So I feel like, man, no, I have to win. Otherwise, they're going to tell me I told you so. And so I did play safe, if it was the best performance, that's awesome. It's good to know. But that was me at like 10, 20%. I took zero chances and I really didn't do much from the way I see it.
Right, right. I just felt like you looked very well rounded in that fight. But the two fights that you have had around that weight class, you've won both of them because the other one was the bare knuckle when you had to go up a weight class, right? Because wasn't that around 120 or something like that?
Yeah, it was 125.
125, yeah. So, I think that you're made for a little bit bigger weight. Maybe you were meant to fight 125 and not 115. What do you think,
Yeah.
Ben?
I really enjoyed her most recent fight through Invicta. Like you said, I feel like it showed a complete performance. And I agree with what you were saying that you didn't show like you were worried about needing to be taken down because you felt comfortable there if something did happen. So it was cool to see a complete performance like that.
Oh yeah. Yep. So where are you training lately? I know last time you were on the show, you were with your training partner at Johnny Bedford's place getting her ready for a fight. Is that still where you've been training mostly?
Well, I moved my camp to Martinez, BJJ in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So
Hmm.
that's where I do most of my training now. I think I'm going to stay there. I feel like I finally found, a good fit. There's a lot of good martial artists out there. There's a lot of good teams, but everyone's different. So for me, this was just a good fit.
Right, right. I got you. Um, so actually, speaking of Johnny Bedford, did you see his most recent fight? That was a really good performance
Oh yeah, I
against
will never
Reggie
miss any
Barnett.
of his fight. I will never miss any of his fight. He's awesome. He's literally the best bare knuckle fighter
Yeah,
in the world, in my opinion.
right. I remember you were saying that on the last episode you were on, and I was thinking of you when he was fighting. And man, that was like, he lost that fight against Dat Nguyen. He just looked off that night, but man, he came in there against Reggie and like looked like invincible, pretty much, like he couldn't miss. So that was really good. I did want to ask you about a former opponent, um, Cheyenne Bays. She's doing pretty good in the UFC now, and you beat her, in the past. Does that give you, some confidence knowing that, you took out one of the rising stars in the UFC in WMMA?
But yeah, I don't look at it that way. I'm happy for her, of course, because it kind of
Mhm.
makes me look good. Anybody
Yeah.
I already fought, I want them to win all their fight. If I beat them, I feel, and then they go out and do great things, I feel like it legitimizes me. And if they beat me, I don't want anybody to beat them because you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like, oh
Yep.
man, everybody can beat her but me. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I know what kind of fighter I am because I do train and I've sparred with a lot of UFC fighters. So besides her making it there, I know exactly where I stand.
Okay. All right. So now, the last couple fights you have had have been in Invicta. Are you signed to an exclusive contract with them, or are they doing a fight by fight basis?
I still have 2 fights in my contract with them, but they are open. If I wanted to do something else and it did not interfere with their schedule, then they will let me do it. They usually review it and then they decide whether or not they're gonna let me do it. But they have never said no, so
Okay,
it's
nice.
it's not necessarily exclusive.
Yeah. So how do you like fighting there? I know you fought there at the beginning of your career and then you left for a little while. You like being back there?
Oh, I love Invicta FC. The whole experience is really awesome. We get there about, I would say, 3 to 4 days before the fight, and it's awesome. Like, all the fighters are female fighters. We're all in the same building. We do media day. Then you have the weigh-ins, and then we have fight night, and they treat everybody like a superstar. It's
Nice.
kind of, it's really cool the way they treat the fighters. And I've been around other promotions, so I've seen the other side. So yeah, I'm really happy to be there, and I would love to continue to be there.
Nice. Nice. Ben, you had something to ask her?
It's just pretty exciting that Invictus sort of separated themselves from the UFC, and they're giving you ladies a real platform to present yourselves and separate yourselves from the rest of the pack. Like, it's pretty cool to see that.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Has much changed since they switched over to their own entity rather than being on Fight Pass? Has anything really changed as far as for the fighters?
Oh, a lot have changed. Well, before, in order for you to watch my fights, you will have to
Mhm.
have UFC Fight Pass. My
Right.
last fight was free on YouTube. So now there's people that that didn't even know watch fights that tell me, you know what, I watched your last fight, it was awesome. And I'm like, great. So now you have more people looking at your fights, and they do a lot of good promotional material for you. But if you are tied to UFC Fight Pass, then your fans don't get to see it. So that's something that I experience now, especially since my last fight was live streamed on YouTube. A lot more people were able to see it without having to commit to downloading and paying for these apps on a daily basis.
Nice. Yeah,
So it
that's
definitely brought a lot more eyes to me, and I'm sure to the other fighters as well.
awesome. That's pretty cool. As far as different fighters, do most of their fighters have a contract with them, or do they bring in fighters for like one fight here and one fight there? Because I notice sometimes they'll have like a fighter that I'll see on a couple other promotions, and then I'll see him on there, and then I'll see him on another promotion. I know you're saying like that they'll let you out, to go do other things, but do they generally have all their female fighters, well, all their fighters under contract?
I will say they do. I mean, I'm not 100% sure because I'm not, working with them on that
Yeah.
capacity. But it seems to me that the fighters that you see going back and forth are just in contract with Invicta. But Shannon, the president of Invicta FC, is just a
Yeah.
very cool lady. Like, if you want to go and, fight outside the promotion, she'll let you, and
Hmm.
without any repercussion, and you can always come back. And then if you have someone like a big name like Kayla Harrison, she
Hmm.
came to Invicta for one fight. That's a complete different deal. That's way
Yeah.
above my paycheck.
Yeah, I gotcha. Do you think that your next fight will be with Invicta?
I really hope so.
Yeah.
Um, I know there are some travel restrictions for some of the fighters from other countries, but I really want to fight a high level striker. And I
Mhm.
have a couple of girls on my list that I consider, to be really good here in the US. But I'm like, man, like the best strikers are from other countries. So I was like, we'll see. Let's see what they come up with. Because I did make it clear to them that I do want to fight a high level striker, because as of now, everybody talk about me as if I am a high level striker, but I really don't know because I've never been tested as a striker. I mean, outside of bare knuckle, I mean, full contact, knees, elbows, and so on. So I want to see if it's true. I want to check that out. I want to be able to go out there and figure out if I am a striker or not. Maybe I'm not.
Right. Nice. Yeah. Well, that'll be a good test if they find somebody for you. When would you like to fight next?
As soon as possible. Right now, even though I won my last fight and I was able to dominate my opponent, I wanted to test how the body felt because I went up in weight. So that's why I was trying to kind of muscling her just to see if I could do it, and I was able to. But then I realized I met another female fighter. She came to say hi, and I told her I was moving up to 125, and I thought she was fighting at 135 because
Mhm.
she's so big, but she fights at 125. I'm like, oh damn, I need to I need to get stronger. Like the girl I follow is not that big for the weight class. So there's some girls who are a lot bigger. So right now I'm focusing on my strength. Technique, of course, you always want to work on that, but I want to concentrate on strength without gaining weight because I do not want to do any weight cutting. That was the whole point of me going up in weight. So as of now, I'm just concentrating on my strength. So I'm not necessarily desperate for a fight, but I would really want to have something scheduled, and I would prefer it was if it was for Invicta FC.
Nice. Hey, Nico's actually on the road right now, but he sent in a question for you. He said, Helen, after fights, when you go back to training, what's more important, adding new tools to the toolbox or strengthening and sharpening the ones you've got?
It's strengthening and sharpening the ones I already have. New stuff is always good as long as it is something that you really need. But at this point in my career, I started late. The things I needed the most was the grappling. So those things I keep sharpening them. That I don't add anything new to that. You're not gonna see me doing any flying armbar or anything like that. I will do it for fun if that's what's happening in class that day. But that's not something I will focus on. Just sharpening the tools I already have.
Right. I got you. That's pretty cool. And I know you said that you're fighting out of what you said it's called. Tell me again what camp it is. It's something BJJ. You said
Martinez BJJ in Philly.
Martinez BJJ.
Yeah.
Have you thought about competing in any BJJ tournaments or anything like that?
I thought about it, but then coach told me not to because you can get hurt. Like there's a lot of joint manipulation and grappling, and I never tap. So like if I get caught in something, whatever you catch, you're gonna have to break it for me to give up. In training, it's different. I tap all the time in training because I train 4-6 hours a day, and I'm not trying to be sore. But I don't see myself. I never tap in competition, so because of that mentality, he knows that it's better if I don't compete in BJJ because then that will take me away from my MMA career if I break something because it will be broken. I don't tap.
Right. Understandable. And speaking of BKFC, do you think you'll ever fight bare knuckle again, whether it's there or anywhere else?
Oh, for sure. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, what is that? Oh, I thought it was a bug. I don't like bugs, but no, it's okay. Yes, I would love to. I mean, BKFC is easy for me because you don't have to think much, and the training is the easiest thing I ever done. When I was training to fight Christine, I had a torn LCL on my right leg, and I was able to recover and train for the fight at the same time. Not having to cut weight obviously help, because I didn't have to do a lot of running or anything like that. So it's something that I can do anytime, and I would love to. At this point, it will be up to them if they want to bring me back. I'm hoping Christine smashes everybody there, and then they can't find her anybody else because I do know someone that can fuck her up.
Understandable. So the Police Gazette title that you won in that fight against Christine, what is the status of that? Are you still the champion, or what did they do with that title?
Last year, because I know they have this thing called champion recess that they're doing with back rolling, which I think is all bullshit. You cannot be a champion if you're not fighting. I don't believe in that. That's the easiest way to be a champion if you're never defending it, right? So within a month of going back to MMA, I contacted Scott Burt. He's the president of the Bare Knuckle Hall of Fame, and I gave it back because I wanted Christine to get it so that we can build a bigger fight. They haven't put it up yet, but I was really hoping she will get the title and then smashes everybody, and then there will be only one person that can take the title from her, and that's Helen Peralta. But they haven't done that yet. So, but I'm in no rush, because bare knuckle is not something that I have to work hard for. So it's something that's so easy for me to do that whenever that happens, I'll be ready.
Right. I noticed that there's some different fighters at 125 and BKFC, some different female fighters, and now all of a sudden they are like being heralded as these like big stars. But if you look at the girls that they're fighting and you check on them, they've never fought BKFC, and they have like a 0-5 MMA record. And you're like, well, who did they really beat? Like some lady who works at the grocery store? I mean, that's exactly what it like looks like if you actually like look up the people that they're like beating. So it's just kind of like you were saying, it's just kind of crazy if they have Christine dominating all these girls that beat those girls that like have no experience. Eventually they're gonna have to come calling on you or maybe Beck Rollins because that's going to be about the only people that that'll be able to come back and put on a good fight with her.
Yeah, and I think besides my ego, which when it comes to bare knuckle, I think I'm the best female bare knuckle fight at 125 pounds in the whole planet, and I'm willing to test it out against anybody. But besides that, I just think for the purity of the sport, I would want to see better matchups. I understand building stars instead of spending a bunch of money for social media followers like they did with what's her name, Paige. Instead of spending all that money, I understand that you want to build your fighters, but it's like, come on now, who are they fighting? There's this fighter they have that's just really charismatic. Man, I think her first name is Taylor. I can't remember her last name. She's fighting on their next card.
Yeah, huh? Taylor Starling.
Yes, I really like her energy. I love the walkout. So I really like her character. But who she's fighting next? She's literally fighting a tomato can.
Right.
I mean,
and she just fought
that shouldn't even be legal. Like nobody should sanction that fight. The girl she's fighting has never won a fight. How? Ever. She's 0-3 in MMA. She lost all 3. So I understand they're trying to build Taylor, but Taylor is a good fighter. She doesn't need that kind of help. That's irresponsible. That's very irresponsible.
Yeah, I agree with you. You have a question from Ashley. She wants to know what your moniker, Iansa, am I saying that right?
My fight name?
Yeah.
Iansa.
Iansa, okay. She wants to know what that means.
Iansa is my capoeira name. Capoeira is a Brazilian martial art. And my capoeira master gave me that name. Iansa is an African Orisha. She's the goddess of the thunderstorms and pretty much chaos. And it came about because I showed up to a seminar and I didn't really belong there. I didn't have the experience. And that seminar was for other instructors, but they allowed me to tag along and I went there. So the way that capoeira, we call it playing. We're not really sparring. We're not trying to knock each other out. But I didn't get the memo. I was trying to knock everybody out, which was extremely disrespectful. But you could tell I was doing it in a manner where I didn't mean anything bad by it. I was just really enjoying it, really feeling the music. And it was just chaotic. Every time I got in the middle of they call it the roda or joda. Mm-hmm. And every time I got in the center, everybody's playing instrument. And these guys are being so nice. And I'm just trying to kick them in the face because I thought like the whole point of throwing kicks is to land them. So that's what I was doing. Then all of a sudden he stops the game, as we call it, and he said, I have a name for you. And he named me Iansa. I had to Google it at the time. That was before I did MMA. So when I started doing MMA, they asked me if I had a nickname. And I feel like you should never give yourself a nickname. So I decided to use the name that was given to me by my capoeira master.
Nice. Yeah. Awesome. I had actually looked it up the other day when I was working on this graphic that's in the background. I'll put it up later on. But and yeah, it said the goddess of like lightning and fire, I think. So I thought
that is correct.
Cool. Yeah, I thought that was a kind of a cool nickname. So let me ask you this: what's your favorite fight you've had so far as MMA goes? I'm sure I know about BKFC, but yeah.
MMA, my favorite MMA fight as a professional.
Yeah, sure.
The professional. So first one, I would think it was the one with Cheyenne Bias. That was a fun fight because she is actually a high-level striker. She's really fast. It was funny. It was a moment in the middle of the fight where I laughed because she threw a 4 or 5 strike combination and she landed every single one of them. I'm like, seriously, I didn't block one of them. And I was like, okay, that's what we're doing. Okay, fine. So I think that was the most fun. It was a lot of fun in that fight.
Nice. Ben, you wanted to ask some stuff about her chef experience and stuff like that. Did you want to go ahead and talk to her about that?
I cook for a living. I'm just a line cook. I'm not a chef, but I was curious if what do you find more like challenging is your career as a chef or your career as training as a fighter?
Oh, being a chef is way more challenging than fighting. Absolutely. I mean, the hours are crazy. The rewards are not that big. And the responsibility, it's not a job where you can go home and you're done. It goes home with you. If you're in charge of the kitchen, Not only that, then there's people that you have to deal with, and people, they can be complicated sometimes. If you're managing other people, you can't really control what they do, but you are the one responsible for everything. So I think, yeah, being a chef was definitely more challenging psychologically. Physically, definitely training mixed martial arts is a lot more challenging.
Right, right.
Do you
Is
do
it?
most of your own cooking where you like for your well, I mean, you said you're not really cutting weight anymore, but do you do most of your own cooking while you're in training camp?
Yes, it's more affordable, and the food tastes like I want it to taste. No unnecessary ingredients. So even though I don't have to diet, especially for my last fight, I could have put on weight if I wanted to, but I didn't want to be slower than my opponent because I knew she was very dangerous. She's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and she was also into bodybuilding and grappling. So I knew she was going to be really strong. So my best bet, if I was going to be smaller, was to be faster. So I concentrated on just eating clean all the time and just making sure I kept track of my food, even though I wasn't cutting weight. So the best way to keep track of what you're eating is if you make it yourself.
Right, right. Um, is it knowing that you can pretty much cook whatever you want? Is it hard to cut weight and sit there and think, man, I could really like cook whatever I want, or I could cook a rack of ribs or something like that I probably shouldn't be eating. Is that hard for you when you are cutting weight?
It used to be. It used to be at the beginning. Now it's not anymore because I got used. Like the things I like to eat are the things I'm supposed to be eating. So now it's kind of peaceful. I just got used to certain foods, and even when I'm not in training camp anymore, I end up just like meal prepping the same way and eating that same way all year round. So I'm like, all right, I finally got to a point where the ingredients that I know are good for my weight cut, because I'm a chef, I can cook them in a way that it tastes delicious all the time. And I can cook them in many different ways. So now it's not that challenging.
Nice, nice. So is being a chef and doing that kind of stuff, I know you've kind of like put that on hold for the moment. Are you going to pursue that some more, post fight career?
I might help other people open restaurants. Opening a restaurant is not something I recommend to anybody. But if you're already opening one and you need help, I'll help you. But I don't think I will go in the kitchen necessarily anymore. I will use my knowledge of nutrition and being a chef and into my career, because I do plan on being into sport management. I do plan to manage people. Eventually, I'll plan to train some people, and all of that ties together. So I will have a lot of different seminars where I'll teach a fighter how to live the lifestyle in a way. So there might be some cooking courses included, but I don't see myself working at a restaurant now.
Yeah, not well, I didn't mean like that, but there's different things that chefs could do. I know, like, didn't you say last time you were like training some chefs at one point, or teaching, right? Isn't that what you were saying?
Yeah,
I
I
think.
used to teach culinary arts at a
Yeah.
community
Okay.
college,
Right.
but
Right.
I'm not
Okay.
allowed to punch the students. So
I was gonna,
that was very
I was gonna say
disappointing.
you're the scariest teacher around.
You know what? When I used to teach, that was before my MMA career, and I always wanted to just. I really, there were some of the students I had anywhere from 16-year-old to like 40, 50-year-old, and I had all sorts of attitudes, and I was the youngest teacher, so people would test me, and sometimes I'm like, man, one overhand right, and this whole conversation would be over. I had to take sensitivity classes because I wasn't too nice. I mean, if it's 7 a.m. and you're 17-year-old and you're leaning on my table, we're going to have a problem because there's no way you can possibly be tired. You're 17. Like, what are you tired? From what? From getting up and walking to. I mean, seriously. So I always wanted to fight some of those kids. And then now I understand the whole time it was a fighter in me that wanted to come out at the wrong time. I'm still in touch with some of my students. They go like, "Yeah, that fits you very well." I'm like, "Yeah, I found myself."
That's hilarious. That's real funny. Um, so as far as your training camps go, I just wanted to dive a little bit deeper into it. You said that you're not really worried about getting taken down now, and that you've been working on your grappling pretty often. Do you feel like that's coming along pretty nicely? Because I know at the beginning of your career, you were strike heavy, and I think you still are a striker at heart. But do you feel like your grappling is getting to where you want it to be?
Yeah, it is getting there. And you're never going to see me initiating a takedown, no matter how good it gets. Because I love punching people in the face more than I like choking people out. And
Mm.
I don't know, it's something different. Plus, also, like in training, in training, if we're wearing MMA gloves and we're sparring, especially if it's a new gym and I'm trying to be nice, I will go and try to take you down, even if you have more grappling experience than me, just because I don't want to hit you with the MMA gloves and be rude. But in a fight, I'm not trying to grapple you. When you submit people, they want a rematch, and I don't want to do that. And plus the crowd too. Everybody wants to see an echo. I like to
Mhm.
strike. You're never gonna see me initiating. I'm always gonna negate the grappling. But if I cannot get up for whatever reason, maybe I broke my foot on someone's shin or someone is just really good on and keeping me down, then I'll go for submissions.
Mm. Chuck Liddell style. He was a good wrestler, but he like I can only remember him getting a takedown really in like one fight, that Vanderlei Silva fight. So that's pretty interesting that you're saying that uh, as far as not wanting to get any takedowns. Um, so I know that last time you were here, I asked you like some different questions about stuff in the past. So we started doing this thing where I get some pictures, and usually like Nico's on here with me, and I show him a picture, and he'll like give me like and Ben also, they'll give me like a response of like what they think of that picture, or they'll give me like an explanation, even if they don't know. Well, I found some pictures of you, and I wanted to put them up on the screen, and then I'll take them down. And I just wanted to see like what like the first thing that pops into your head when you see these pictures, or like what was going on. Is that cool with you?
Sure. Let me fix my camera because for some reason I
Okay,
got
cool.
half the screen. There I have the whole
Yeah.
screen.
Okay.
Sure,
Cool.
go ahead.
So the first one, I am not sure exactly what fight this was or anything like that because I couldn't really tell from your tapology. But this is the picture right here. What was that? Was that like a amateur kickboxing?
Oh my god, that was my first and only kickboxing match. I won
Mhm.
all 5 rounds, but I just felt really weird. Like I'm a striker, but it just felt really weird to not be able to grab people. They made me wear shin guards. They made me wear these big gloves, and it was slippery. So the shin guards have like a padding on the bottom to help you stick to your foot. And I went to throw a kick and I fell on my butt and I was so like embarrassed. I'm an adult. I don't fall. And I have never
Yeah.
watched a kickboxing match before I showed up for that fight. I probably should have. So I was so embarrassed. I did not know kickboxers fall all the time. I thought it was
Mhm.
just me. I was so embarrassed after that. The ref tried to help me up. It was like between rounds. I'm like, don't touch me. So yeah, it was weird. Like I didn't quite understand the rules. I do know the rules now, so it was very confusing night for me. I mean, I was able to win the fight but that was my first and only kickboxing match.
Nice. And that was enough for you for kickboxing?
Yes, like when I watch kickboxing, like after a little while, like I'm like, there's no elbows. I will definitely get disqualified for elbows, because that's what I do when people get really close, because like
Yeah.
just makes to make some space. And there's no grappling. Like I love the clinch. I love to clinch. I'm really strong there, and I can, I don't know. The whole kickboxing match was like a nightmare for me.
Nice. Hey, before I show you the next picture, I remembered one thing I wanted to ask you. What do you think of this new Game Bred MMA, George Masvidal's deal where they have bare knuckle MMA? What do you think about that?
I really like the idea of bare knuckle MMA for sure.
Yeah.
This is only their second show.
Right.
So I am definitely expecting the quality of the matchups to go up within the next few shows. If it
Hmm.
doesn't, then I don't, then it is what it is.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But I'm expecting the quality of the matches to get better. But I
Mhm.
do like the idea of fighting bare knuckle. I mean, if I can put my shin in your face and just blast you with it, why couldn't
Yeah.
I just punch you without gloves? The
Right.
gloves make it a lot harder to grapple too, like to finish chokes and stuff like that, and also makes it a lot harder to escape certain submission, like an armbar. So when you grab an armbar and somebody's wearing gloves, you can grab the outside of the glove, not the inside, and now that arm is there forever. But if you're not wearing gloves, you're gonna get out. So I,
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
I like MMA without gloves. I think it will be a lot better.
Nice. I know also, they say that the gloves cause like more eye pokes in MMA too, just because like I guess because it kind of keeps your hands stretched out unless you're clinching them. So maybe, maybe that'll cut down on fouls and stuff like that. But I'm not sure. But so this was the second picture I wanted to show you right there. That's a pretty mean face. I think some of the chefs you were training might have seen that face. They might have got scared.
Yeah, it's funny
Oh, did
because I
you see
wasn't
it?
even mad that day.
Oh, really?
No, I was just a little concerned. I was so sick. I had this it was like a chest cold where I found it really hard to breathe, and I couldn't sleep the day before the fight because I could barely breathe. But when I was up, I can breathe. But when I was laying down, I couldn't. I lost my voice for like 4 days before the fight, and then I was weighing 122 pounds for the fight, and we weighed in at 120. So like I gained 2 pounds. That was it. And that was before I left the hotel. I didn't eat after that, so I was probably lighter for the fight. So I was a little bit concerned, so I wanted to get rid of her. I'm like, I don't want to be here for too long. I don't know what my cardio is going to be like because I was having problem breathing. I wasn't mad at her or anything. I just wanted her gone.
Right. Understand
And she was gone. She was gone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know last time you were here, you told us that Amanda Nunes is your favorite fighter. So what does this picture right here mean to you?
Oh, that day when I saw Amanda Nunes standing there, I told the girl, I'm going to fuck you up. I have to. It's not even my fault. Amanda's here. I cannot kill you tomorrow night. So it's like, I have to knock this girl out. The moment I saw Amanda, I'm like, man, I need to get this girl knocked out.
That's awesome. That's just a real cool picture. I'd never seen it before. I was getting ready for this show. Like I said, I remembered you said she was your favorite fighter. So that picture, I could tell that would mean a lot to you. That's really cool. So there's two pictures that I don't want you to beat me up if we ever meet in person, but this picture right here is like straight up something out of Rocky. I mean, look at that. Look at your guys' faces. That is like an insane picture right there. Like, if I were you, I'd have that thing framed and put up on my wall, to be honest with you. But what do you think when you see that picture?
When I see that picture, I think no fucking body is going to take this from me. That's what I was thinking at that point. I'm too ugly already to not be champion, to not take that title with me. So I'm like, all right, I'm already all caught up. I'm already ugly. This is going to be an awkward ride back home unless I win. And then that's when I start coming forward. I'm like, somebody's going to go to sleep. Let it be it. But I'm just going to keep charging forward. She has a problem now. And that problem is Helen Peralta at that night.
Nice. Hey, Howie Antherton said, "Hey, champ," in the comments.
Yo, he's my friend. He's close by. Actually, we might meet up this weekend or something. Get something to eat. He always asks me, but I'm always out of town, so I think it will be a good time to do so.
All right, check this one out. This one I think is a really cool picture. What about that picture?
I was just training, and somebody brought in this mask, and they were like, "Oh, they're supposed to like give you more lung capacity or whatever." I didn't quite understand the science of it, and I wasn't sure that they did, but I did notice when I was wearing it, it was really hard. That's all I knew. I'm like, oh, if I can go really hard, because I could barely breathe out of this thing. Whether or not in the long run it will increase my lung capacity or not, I don't understand the science behind it. But whether or not that does it or not, the fact that it was so much harder with it, I decided I was going to wear it and I was going to do all my rounds with it on. And it was really hard. But I was proud of myself that I was able to finish it. And I was like, okay, I'm taking a picture. Then I look, I'm like, oh my God, I have abs. I only have abs like 5 to 6 times a year for like 2 weeks at the time. So I'm like, I got to take a picture before they go away.
Nice.
So I took off my shirt and took a picture.
That's awesome. That's a really cool picture. I think if I had a picture like that, I'd probably keep that as my profile picture forever.
Actually, somebody made a drawing out of it. And this lady, I think I posted. Let me see if I can bring the camera over there. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so she made a drawing out of it.
Oh, yeah, that's really cool.
Wow, that's wicked cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. I mean, that's a copy, like a photo of the drawing, but I do have the original.
Nice.
So I guess you really liked it too.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. All right, check this one out right here. This, I think, out of all your pictures, I think this is my favorite picture, and I used it on that banner that I sent you. But this picture right here is like, it's such a good picture that it almost looks like it's staged. Ben, does that not look staged?
Oh my God. That's
But
the night that Amanda Nunes was in there.
Right.
And I haven't seen my puppy in like, I have a puppy and I was training Orlando. My puppy's here in Iowa. And I had already 3 or 4 training camps back to back, and they were all title fights. And I'm like, man, I miss Thanksgiving, New Year's, Christmas, everything. And I'm like, this girl, like, it's her fault. And Amanda Nunes here. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna pay for all that. I
Like
was
I
just
said,
like mad, and I mean, I knew I wasn't 100% mad at her, but at that moment, I was like, how can I bring myself to be motivated about this? I'm like, no, I'm just gonna blame her for everything, and then just go get my money.
nice. Yeah, like I said, it almost looks like it's staged, like she's being held up by wires or something.
she
And
looks like a marionette
It's-
puppet. Yeah, she looks
oh
like a
my
puppet on
God.
string.
it
And
looks
by
like
the
they're
way, that's a very improper punch. Everybody tells me not to throw punches like that. I'm like, well, look what it does to people.
yeah.
Like,
Was that
you know,
one of your patent haymakers?
yeah, it was definitely a haymaker. But it wasn't just one. Like, you might be able to see one, but when I throw 5, 6 of those in a row, it's really hard to like know what to do.
Right. Understand that. All right. So look, I know there's some kind of backstory. I don't know what it is. I was actually afraid to ask you about this last time. I was just like, whatever. I feel a little more comfortable asking you about this now. But
Okay.
do you want to tell the story about this? Because I really have no idea. I just saw the picture and I was like, holy crap.
Oh, come on, guys. Oh
Just
wow.
that's just a,
So as I said, that was my last amateur fight. So
okay.
before that, I had 2 other title fights back to back, no breaks. So when
Mhm.
I took that fight, I had just fought. So for the first time, I fought at 115 because I didn't have anybody to defend my title at 125. And one person, hey, you want to do 115? I'm like, man, that's an extra 10 pounds. I'll do it. So I made the weight. But then right after that fight, I ate so much, I gained not only my way back, but an extra 5 or 7 pounds. Then
Mm.
I'm enjoying myself, very proud because I got a knockout. And somebody asked me, hey, because I had already signed with Invicta. That was supposed to be, one last fight. And they say, hey, will you be down to do one more amateur fight in Vegas? I was like, I never been to Vegas. And it was for Tough Enough. And they told me that this girl was the toughest one in my division. So I was like, well, before I
Mm.
leave the amateurs, I would love to like test myself out with the best, amateur, because the amateur record doesn't really matter. So I figured
Mhm.
I'll just go out there and check it out. But when I signed the contract, I didn't think that it was a 115. I thought it was a 125. Then
Mm.
we're like about 6 days out of the fight, and I read it, and I was like, oh shit. No, this is bad because now I have to
Yeah.
lose an extra 10 pounds. So,
Yep.
anyways, I'm a professional. We made some adjustment. I made the weight. When I get to weigh in, the girl's not there, and they wouldn't let me weigh in without my opponent because, of course, it was in her hometown, and they were not Team Helen at all. They made my life miserable over there. But I'm
Mm.
like, okay. So I got to the scale, and the scale weighted me 1 pound heavier, which I know I wasn't. I ended up jump roping in a corner, make weight. Then my opponent shows up 2 hours late, and they didn't let
Mm.
me wait without her. So there I am, dying, dehydrated. And she comes in. That's why I'm fully clothed. And I will say, when you're dehydrated and being drunk, it's the same thing. Like you're not yourself. So she got really, really close to me, and I remember everybody yelling, and I kind of spaced out. And then I come back through, and I'm standing there, feeling lost. And there's a semi-naked girl in front of me with full makeup, and I freaked out. And I didn't know what to do, so I kissed her. Like I don't know.
That's
That's what
hilarious.
I'm like. I don't know what she wants. She probably wants a kiss,
Yeah.
so I just did that.
Oh yeah, because she was so close. I got you. That's
Yeah, I just
hilarious.
kind of like appeared from a time machine, and all of a sudden, this girl's like right there, and she looks angry, but she doesn't have clothes on. So I'm like, okay.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I got you. Well, Ben, do you have any more questions? Because I'm gonna try to keep this at around 45 minutes. But
My only question was: is there anybody that you specifically have in mind for your next fight that you would like to fight, or do you pretty much just throw down anybody that comes your way?
Yeah, no, I don't want to pick one person because that narrows things down. I just I want to fight the best striker in my division if they can fly in, because I know it's not in the US. Now, let's say you're a fighter at 125 and you are in the US, then I'm talking shit about you. Then I'm saying I'm better than you. then you should call me out and let me know. I just want to throw hands, like that's what I really want to do. Like I just want to, and the crowd likes it better when there's a knockout. It might be me getting knocked out, it might be you getting knocked out, but it's more fun. So I want to fight striker, whoever that is, whoever thinks they're the best striker at 125 pounds. Let me know so I can prove you wrong. And then if I am wrong, I will definitely want to know that. I don't want to go around, having unrealistic expectations of myself.
Right.
And you said you have 2 fights left with Invicta. Do you think in like a perfect world you'd win those 2 fights and then kind of make your way to the next stage, or?
It's hard to know what the perfect world is right now. I'm a prize fighter. I will fight for whoever wants me to fight for them. If opportunity presents itself, I'll take it. I do enjoy Invicta a lot because of the freedom that you have as far as other combat sports. I would like to go to the UFC just because of what it means to other people. But to be honest with you, it doesn't mean much to me because I know people who are there and they're not any better than me and they're not special. Where you are working for sure and define who you are. But since it means so much to other people and it will look good on my resume, so I would definitely like to fight in the UFC octagon.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
That's an excellent answer.
Yeah. What about Bellator? Same thing?
Yeah, I mean, Bellator, they're really shady with their matchups. You know what I mean? They do some things, some magic tricks when it comes to getting fights for their favorite fighters in there. But if they want me to fight for them, I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
But they always seem to find the right matchup for the girls that are under their contract. So if you're not in a committed exclusive contract with them, you don't get much. And the girls who are in an exclusive contract with them kind of get they get helped a lot on the matchmaking side.
Yeah, they get the preferential treatment.
Yeah, they don't want somebody from the outside come in, beat the girls, and then leave.
Right. That makes sense. It also seems like, and I know the UFC has some horrible decisions sometimes, but it seems to me like Bellator really, like, I don't know, their judges are cooking something up because it just seems like a lot of their judges, even if somebody just gets dominated the whole fight, it'll be a split decision, and that person that got dominated might lose, but they still have one of the judges that gave them like 2 out of the 3 rounds, and you're like, seriously, what was this guy watching? So I think it's kind of, I don't know. It seems like the UFC has, I wouldn't say better judges, but for some reason, I feel like they keep things a little bit better under control than Bellator does.
Well, they have to. It's more policing there, policing by the public. Bellator, I don't even know how you watch Bellator,
Yeah.
So I usually just see reports and I see highlight reels, but I don't watch like the fights. The UFC is always in your face, so they have to do a better job at taking care of this stuff. Even though they can't pick their own judges because that's up to the commission, but they do a better job of weeding out those shitty judges.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, Helen, do you have any call outs, shout outs, any sponsors you want to talk about, anything like that before we finish up?
Oh yeah, shout out to everybody watching live and anybody that's going to watch it later. Anybody that supports my career in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be necessarily financially. Even if you just see a flyer of me about to fight and you're hoping I win, thank you for that. I do believe in energy, and lately I've been feeling like there's a lot of people in my corner. I don't know who they are and where this energy is coming from, but I definitely want to keep it coming. So thank you to everybody that had anything to do for where I am right now in my career as a fighter. And thank you guys for having me too.
Thank you. And that energy is definitely partly coming from us. Big fans. I watch every single one of your fights. I remember we were somewhere and I was like, I got to go home now. And I was like, I got to finish up because you were getting ready to fight on YouTube. And I was like, I'm ready to go. I don't want to watch this on my phone. So I thought that, so some of that energy is definitely coming from us. But thank you so much for being with us today. Ben, thank you for taking the co-host chair tonight. And everybody watching, thank you for joining us, and have a great night. Hopefully we can get you on again after your next fight, Helen.
Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you very much, guys.